is the Ridiculously Amazing Insurance Agent podcast hosted by me, Kelly Donahue-Piro. This show is for growing agencies looking to maximize their biggest investment, their people. We mash up our 3-minute videos from the previous week, all with tips on how to be ridiculously amazing at insurance sales, retention, processes, marketing, running in an agency, and time management. If you want them daily, like us on social media as they're posted. But let's get started. Hey everybody, it's Kelly Donahue-Piro here with our 3-minute video mashup. So excited to see you today. We're talking about something very timely, which is, how do we control these inbound rate calls? These could be midterm, at renewal. With the economy changing, this is something that all agencies are facing. And so we want to break down our top 4 strategies, which is expect the call, have empathy, discount and review, and remarketing expectations. Now, if you enjoy our 3-minute videos, please comment, we love to share them. Share them with other agents. That we do all these for free. If you notice, we have no advertisers, it's just us. So make sure you're promoting us as much as you can if you enjoy our content. Let's go ahead and get in the first video about expecting the call. All right, I talk in this video about how we should be expecting the call. It shouldn't be something that we have a bad mindset on. The mindset is really, really critical. So as you're going through everything, you can let these calls get you down, or you can see them as an opportunity. And that is really what we're going to go over in this 3-minute video. Hey everyone, it's Kelly Donahue-Piro here. And this week we're talking all about how to handle inbound calls with rate increases or just expectations that people need to shop around. As inflation continues to hit, it's important that we are ready to take on these phone calls. It's a natural part of the process. People are calling their cable company, they're calling their cell phone provider. When daycare costs go up and gas gets more expensive, people are always looking for ways to maximize their budget, and insurance is just the same. So we need to identify some ways that we can handle this to make sure that our teams feel good and solid and ultimately have a plan. And so at your agency, you need to be planning for these items. And this includes things along the lines of going ahead and just stopping for a second saying, do they have scripts? Are they trained? And for a lot of agencies, the answer to that is no. Our expectations are just handle it and there's no plan. And I really encourage everybody to look at our online school because we have a whole course on how to handle rate. And this is the perfect time to invest in your team's training on it. The videos are 10, 15 minutes each. There's scripts and there's just a powerful impact of how you can handle this changing economy. But the first video that we're going to go over is you have to expect the call. Expect that these people are going to call. And so much of this is mindset. If it's another person calling about the rates, guess what? Then we need to be expecting that that's going to happen. This is the season that we are in. We don't want to have the mindset of our customers are silly or why are they trying to save money? Well, if you're getting hit by an increased electricity bill, an increased daycare bill, an increased grocery bill, an increased gas bill, they're looking everywhere to find a few bucks, and that's completely normal. So let's not judge them for it. Let's instead say, I'm so glad you called. Remember, when they're calling us, they are not calling our competition. So expect the call and be kind. For many of us, we might be doing this in our own household, and it's no different. So I don't want everybody getting themselves all worked up about rate increases. They're going to happen. It's part of the process. But the most important thing we need to think about is that they're calling us and we're here to be of service. We can use this as an opportunity to update their account, scrub discounts, look to cross-sell. This could be an opportunity, not something that's happening to us. So as these calls happen, take a deep breath and realize they're calling us. It's a blessing. It's an opportunity, and use it as such. Don't let them get you down. And keep following this video series as we're going to be going over 4 different strategies that you should take on in your agency. And these are just little tips that are going to help make this season of insurance a little bit more bearable. And think about that online school. And if you like these videos, make sure you're liking them, commenting, giving us comments on what we could cover in future videos. We are happy to help. We'll see you in the next video where Heath Sharon talks about having empathy during these times. In our next 3-minute video, Heath Sharon's going to share a little bit about having empathy, and that when people are calling in, it's not because they think it's fun, it's usually because they need to. So having an empathetic approach is going to help us greatly increase our ability to help the person. We don't want to come off as combative or uncaring. In fact, they're calling us because they need us. And when they need us, it's our opportunity. I'll let Heath Sharon take over in this 3-minute video.
Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's the mayor here, Heath Sharon, with another 3-minute video. And this week we are talking about how to handle those inbound calls with rate increases or just us expecting those and understanding that with the way the economy is, and with inflation right now, and gas prices going up, and daycare prices, groceries changing in price, obviously we need to be prepared for those phone calls for people looking to save anywhere they can, and insurance happens to be on that list. So we need to understand where that's coming from and be ready for that. And Kelly talked about that yesterday, being prepared for those calls. And today what I want to do is, now that we're prepared for that call, let's show a little empathy on those calls. And empathy, again, not the same thing as sympathy, as sympathy is when you share those feelings. Empathy is just understanding those feelings, even though we may not share them. A lot of times we don't share those, but at least we have that empathy to say, okay, I understand where you're coming from. And a lot of times people that get on those phone calls, if we let them talk, they'll tell you, what's going on, all their problems. And that's part of what we do as an insurance agent. Sometimes we have to be that counselor. We just listen to what they're saying. And immediately, I don't want you to go into reshop mode. Don't always remarket right off the bat. There may be an option for a reduced rate. And this is a great opportunity for you to show your service. So what I want you to do is just, listen for a minute, take a breath. And then what I want you to do is go into that mode of education, go into that mode of showing them your value of why they come to you. Because remember, if they're calling you, they're not calling your competition. They believe in you, they trust in you, and they're coming to you. So at that moment in time, then that's when you might say, okay, let's look at your policy for a minute and let's explore some options. Maybe there's some discounts you could uncover. Maybe there's some changes within the family that you might be able to look for a reduced rate somehow. Before you go into immediately, let's shop and let's look and let's do this, let's just take a breath and take a look at some things and try to update those things. Maybe there's a good student discount. Maybe there's something as simple as, telematics you might be able to put in they haven't already done. Or maybe there's, some other discount out there that you haven't put on yet and that you haven't uncovered. Or maybe there's a change somewhere in there. Maybe they had a driver leave the situation, or maybe you take somebody up. I don't know, something. Maybe they updated the roof in the last year since you did. I don't know. Look for something there within the policy. Also, again, show your service. Show what you can do there and how you can go into that. Provide those options. And maybe it's looking at some other options within the coverages with deductibles or whatnot. Or maybe, again, it's looking for those discounts, other opportunities there. But I feel like in a lot of ways, this is just an opportunity for you to show empathy and just sit there and listen for a minute. And I think if they felt like they've been heard and understood, to say, Mr. Customer, I understand where you're coming from. I hear you. This is a tough time for everybody. I think a lot of times they may just want to get on the phone and just vent for a minute, let themselves know that they've been heard by their insurance confidant or consultant or agent, whatever that relationship they have with you. Sometimes they just need to be heard. So I think a lot of times having that empathy is going to go a long way. But again, I don't want you to immediately go into panic mode, reshop mode, and go into that. Let's look for ways, again, to show that service and show those options and go into consulting mode. And let's take a deep breath. Let's look into this. I hear where you're coming from, and go from that direction. Stay tuned for the rest of the week. It's going to be a good week. Just some little bitty tips and some things to keep us going through this season and help us just to take a deep breath and recognize, we're all going through this together as a country. Guys, look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Hey everyone, real quick before we let you go from the video, we've been talking about stopping those cancellations. And you might have seen in some of our blog posts that are watching this video that we have a whole process pack with scripts, email templates, all the cancellation reasons to track. So I just want to take 1 second and show you where it is. If you come to shop and you go to process packs, you'll actually see all of our process packs on here, including stopping a cancellation. So scroll right on down and it's the first one that you'll see. And you can actually click on it and get a little bit more information. So you can add it to your cart, check out right here. But the reality is we give you a whole tour of what's included because there's video training with it. There's so many great things. But take a look. We're going to talk about the types of cancellations, how to track by reason, how to share that data with your team, how to handle late pays and non-payments, saving a call-in cancellation, calling out to somebody who's canceled, what to do exactly when a client cancels, try to win them back, and how to put them through a cycle. So you get a workbook, 8 videos, all the content, scripts, and everything that you need. So we even role play them all out, all for $200. So if your agency needs to reduce cancellations, this is the course for you. I wanted to stop, just let you know it. So all you got to do is go to agencyperformancepartners.com, shop process packs, and check them all out. What more could you want? Thanks so much for being a loyal watcher, and we hope that you become a client with our stopping a cancellation process. In this video, I share something that I'm very passionate about, which is not remarketing. We want to avoid remarketing at all costs, and we want to do everything in our power to do all of the things before we get to a reshop. So in my personal opinion, I think it's very critical that we take some time and focus on reviews and scrubbing the account for discounts and understanding what's important. This also means that agents need to brush up on their discounts and understanding who does what, when, why, how, and where pretty quickly. Watch this 3-minute video for tips on exactly that. All right, on our next video, we're talking here about, we have them on the line. Our go-to should not be, let's get them off the phone and remarket, because we're missing so much opportunity there. And a reshop doesn't always solve our problems. What we need to do instead is scrub the account and do a full review. What are the drivers, year of the roof, security system, any new discounts that we can come up with. The major point of this is that if they call other agencies to get competitive quotes, new agencies are going to find this. And remember, the longer they spend on the phone with us, the less likely they are to call other agencies. So we can't just have a 2-minute call and say, oh, I'll shop you and get back to you. That is not a great customer experience. That's a transaction. We instead need to stop and take a deep breath and identify what we're going to be doing for the person. And when I say this, I mean it with all the love in my heart. I know how complicated and how productive agencies are, but we have to stop and take this opportunity. The remarket is actually the most time-consuming piece. If we can find a handful of ways to manipulate the account through discounts, cross-selling, and making sure that the account is accurate, that's the best bet. Then the final step would be, if we had to, we reshop. But our go-to shouldn't be reshop, spin the wheel, save some money with an inaccurate account. We don't want to do that. There's also some things that might prohibit us from reshopping somebody. So as we get updated information, that is what is the most critical component, is that may be taken off the table. There's also great new discounts, especially in personal lines with telematics and usage-based driving apps, that we need to investigate and understand. Now is the time to learn your discounts in and out. And if it's hard to do because you might have 12 companies, you need to be going to the carrier websites and looking at those discounts 100%. We need to lean on credit score and updating insurance scores. These are all tips that are going to save you the time of a remarket and improve the experience with a client. Remember, you might be thinking remarketing is natural, get them off the phone, but you could be reducing the premium and putting them with a lower tier carrier that's paying less commission. Also, hugest discount you can always get is cross-selling, so let's not stop. Even though the person's frustrated by the rate, they're calling us. This is an opportunity to invite them in to look at all their policies. All of this should be done before we decide to remarket. There's just so many things we can do to avoid a reshop that's where our head has to go. Thanks for watching this 3-minute video. Heath Sharon is going to talk next about remarketing expectations. So how to set expectations if we have to remarket, what we should be getting out of a reshop to make it worth our time. We'll see you in the next video. In this 3-minute video, Heath Sharon is going to explain our remarketing expectations, from setting appointments to cross-selling to improving coverage to where to place the business. We shouldn't just spin the wheel of rate reshopping. We should be intentional with our reshop since it is so time-consuming. And we have to be careful where we put people and what happens if there is no better option. So I'm going to let Heath Sharon take it away with remarketing expectations.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Heath Sharon here with another 3-minute video. And this week, again, we are talking about, is your agency ready for the phone calls coming in about rate increases and ready to shop, so to speak. And we've had some good conversations this week about that. And today, we want to talk about the expectations of remarketing, how to set the expectation if we do have to remarket, and kind of what we need to get out to make it worth our time. And so I want to get into some of that with you. And, I think where we need to start on this is asking some of the questions and helping our customer to understand this is not a Geico situation where they're coming in 15 minutes or less and they could save 15% or more. That's not the situation we're in. We are professionals, and we are insurance professionals that do our job and do it every day. And you need to let them know this is not just some click of a button or two, that they need to be prepared for that. So one of the first questions that I would ask would be, how much do you need to save to go through the hassle of what we're about to go through? And because it's not just a simple thing here, we've got to go through some things, we'll have to set up a second phone call, things of that nature to go through this. This is not just a one-click fix-all type of situation. We need to let them know that, there's probably a risk involved in that of maybe another inspection. Maybe your house hasn't been inspected in a few years. Maybe your car, maybe your situation, your account hasn't been inspected. They're going to rerun your MVRs. They're going to have to look at your clue. They're going to have to look at what the inspections on the house, things of that nature, and that may not be as favorable as the first time around. The house has aged a little bit. Maybe there was a ticket or two picked up along the way. Things of that nature, they need to be understanding of that and let them know, hey, are you okay with the risk of a reran MVR and another inspection on your home that might show some dings on your roof, or it might show some things on the foundation, or it might show some things that may not be as favorable as the first time around. And again, not a scare tactic, not anything like that. It's just something to talk them through a little bit. Again, we're professionals. What we do is not a Geico situation. We are professional insurance agents. And so just being prepared for that and letting them know what this is going to look like. And then what we need to do is, if we get that point and we've solved all that, we've answered all those questions, and it ends up being a reshop situation, what we need to do is set an appointment to review the remarketing options. If we don't do it on that first call with them, then let's set an appointment to get back on the phone with all the decision makers on the phone, where we sit down and walk through the options. If we give them 2 or 3 options, we need to be willing to sit down, walk through those options and what those look like with a different carrier, or with the same carrier with a different quote, whatever that looks like. I shouldn't say this, so harshly, sorry. I suggest that you never email that quote until you're there to connect. I would not do that. Because again, if they're in a shopping mode, they're probably going to take that email and forward that on to maybe another agent that they're shopping with, or maybe, a prior agent they worked with, or something of that mode. If they're in that mode, what we want to do is be in control of this situation all the way through. Yes, client, John Doe, whatever, Jane Doe, I would love to go through these options with you. If we can't do it today, let's look at tomorrow. Let's look at the next day, whenever we can get you and your spouse together, whoever the decision makers are, and let's walk through this. We see, 10-minute conversations, let's walk through this, whatever that looks like. Get them, if you can, get them on a Zoom call where you can share screens and you can walk through those with them. But again, this goes into part of being ready for that call. We need to set those expectations of what that looks like. So I really hope that this video has helped. We got a mashup coming on tomorrow's videos. Be on the lookout for that. Stay tuned. Look at the YouTube video, because you're going to see all of the videos mashed in together into one. Listen to the podcast. If you haven't subscribed to the Ridiculously Amazing Insurance Agent podcast, go ahead and do that. Same thing with the YouTube channel. There's so many good interviews on there, other good mashups, other good podcasts. We would love to have you a part of that. And also be on the lookout for some other cool stuff coming out. We got a new course launching, coming up next quarter, and we've got some other cool stuff coming up. Hope that you have enjoyed this series. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Well, that's our strategies on how to deal with inbound rate concern calls. We hope that you've enjoyed that. Again, we have a whole course on this that goes into very, very intricate detail on exactly what to say, when to follow up, how to handle it. So if your team is struggling with this, hop into our school, 15-minute videos that you can use in your team meetings, play them out every week, and you'll just keep getting better and better as the mentality that we have on how to handle rate can kind of get into your team's brains. But allowing them to kind of go on without a plan means that we're not being good leaders. And that's why we need to embrace education at every turn. We hope that you have a great day, and we'll see you in our next 3-minute video series.